Can you guys see it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to test it out. Okay.
Okay, nice.
Okay.
And Mrs. Thorpe, who would you like to time keep?
Oh, good question. I can do that.
Okay. So at least 10, no more than 20. And we don't necessarily have to record, but if people want to record, that's fine.
Okay.
All right. So whenever you're ready, Mrs. Thorpe, you can let Francesca know when to start.
All right. Why don't you go ahead and start?
All right. Hi, everyone. We're Early Birds, and our community project is on East Salinas, zip code 93905. And I would like to introduce you to the group. We have Lydia, Claudia, Francesca, Christine, John, Shannon, Buena, Brittany, Abram, and myself. So here are our objectives for today. We're going to be talking about why we chose East Salinas, our analysis and planning of East Salinas, our Healthy People 2030 leading health indicator and disparity, our event location walkthrough along with some of the recipes that we came up with for our project, our Blue Zone project opportunities and collaboration that we're working on, and collaboration with the community members, and what our plans are going forward for the next semester.
So why East Salinas? So we chose East Salinas because we felt a disadvantaged region in the county of Monterey. They also have the highest migrations of people from other countries, as well as 37% of lower income residents report being in fair or poor health compared to only 5.2% of middle and upper income residents.
East Salinas holds an approximate population of 59,000 individuals with different nationalities, including Hispanic, African American, and Asians. However, mostly Hispanics, with holding 75%, which is about 44,250 individuals of the local residents. 37% of East Salinas residents are in poor health. The three most common health conditions include diabetes, which is the leading condition, followed by heart disease and cancer. Residents in our communities state that it's too expensive to purchase healthier foods. So as part of our assessment in the first semester, the Early Birds have agreed that our primary concern is nutrition. As a result to our assessment, the Early Birds have decided to participate in an educational event and distribute pamphlets for the residents to take home that contain healthy recipes with easy to reach groceries in their local community. Us Early Birds have partnered up with Cultura Hidalgo y Oaxaca restaurant and Blue Zone to promote healthy eating in the community of East Salinas.
And continuation from the analysis and planning, we did notice various issues in the community, and one of them that stood out was a lack of resources to help out promote healthy eating for the residents of East Salinas. They also reported wanting to learn simple and healthy recipes and find Blue Zone locations within their reach from their homes or walking distance. And that's why we are going to be collaborating with the local restaurants as well as Blue Zones to promote healthy eating. And we will be having also an information board and handouts to provide to our local residents.
The Healthy People 2030 leading health indicators we are focusing on are as follows. Reduce the proportion of children and adolescents with obesity. From 2013 to 2016, 17.8% of children and adolescents aged 2 to 19 years had obesity. The target goal for 2030 is 15.5% of children and adolescents with obesity. Our second leading health indicator is reduce the annual number of new cases of diagnosed diabetes in the population. 6.5 new cases of diabetes per 1,000 adults aged 18 to 84 years occurred in the past 12 months, as reported by Healthy People in the years of 2016 to 2018. And the target goal of 2030 is 5.6 new cases of diabetes per 1,000 adults. The leading health indicators were chosen because a major health disparity that mostly affects the 93905 East Salinas zip code is increased type 2 diabetes and obesity rates. These leading health indicators also directly correlate with our community partner Blue Zones and their dedication to creating healthy communities across the US.
Listening to the needs of our community while keeping their leading health disparities in mind, we found a few recipes that we could easily pass along to the community members. This recipe is for a chicken fajita salad. It's quick and easy. It also takes into consideration local availability for the 93905 community while remaining a low cost and healthy option for our community members. This protein can be easily swapped out to fit an assortment of dietary restrictions or health needs. This recipe also includes a green salsa and a homemade Cajun seasoning to enjoy with this fresh and light salad. This meal also follows recommendations from myplate.org and the CDC regarding healthy eating for a healthy weight.
As Francesca mentioned, East Salinas has a wide variety of health disparities that are mostly dietary related, such as type 2 diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, and obesity. The 93905 community voiced feeling disadvantaged compared to other communities within Monterey County, reporting that they lacked knowledge of where to find nutritious options and asked for recipes or examples of healthy meals. We were fortunate to establish a partnership with the restaurant shown here, called Culturas Hidalgo y Waka Restaurant, which promotes Blue Zone and offers Blue Zone inspired meals using fresh vegetables and alternatives to meat such as squash blossom and mushrooms. Our group participated in a cooking class with Culturas Restaurant, Blue Zone, the Salinas Library, and local Catholic Church, along with other members of the community. The Blue Zone inspired dish on the right is called En Frijoladas, which is a homemade corn tortillas dipped in black paste, topped with sauteed mushrooms, onion, garlic. Then you add fresh avocado and a Naples salad, which is shown on the left, which is basically cactus with a pico de gallo. And we've included the recipe on the next slide for you. Our hope is that by demonstrating simple recipes like these and nutritional education, East Salinas will gain a deeper understanding of the role that food and nutrition play in their health and be able to correlate poor eating habits with their specific health problems like heart disease or diabetes.
Another simple recipe that will help with heart disease is influenced by the Mediterranean diet and Blue Health guidelines. It is a lemon salmon with steamed broccoli and wine. So this recipe includes three aspects: the salmon, the steamed broccoli, and preferably red wine. You get about a 6 to 7 ounce piece of salmon, and it includes lemon juice, garlic clove, extra virgin olive oil, oregano, paprika, and pepper. For the broccoli, it's steamed over a boiling pot of water for about 6 to 8 minutes. And you can cut it to size, whatever really you like. I know some people like small broccoli, some people like really big broccolis. Instead of butter, we're going to use extra virgin olive oil and lemon juice to kind of like drape over the top of it. And then for a red wine, preferably red wine, you can have white wine as well, but red wine is preferred for heart health, and it is preferred in adults with dinner in about 1 glass, so about 6 to 8 ounces.
So for the Blue Zone project opportunities, we had the opportunity to have a Zoom meeting with Genevieve LeBlanc. She is the Senior Policy Lead and Food Environment Specialist of the Blue Zone project. So with that being said, she was able to walk us through different events and collaborations she has in our community. So one of those, the early bird participated in the cooking class, like what Shannon had mentioned, with the Blue Zone, also with the Culturas Hidalgo and Oaxaca restaurant. And in regards to the Power Nine. So out of all the Power Nine, we have chosen 3 of those that correlate in our community, which is the downshift, 80% rule, and plant-based. So the active participation promotes nutrition to help reduce the risk of health disparity, including the diabetes and obesity. Those are all pretty much the disparity that we found relevant in our community, which is the 93905. We predicted that strategy of educating and healthcare's way of eating, along with the integration with both Blue Zone Project and the Power 9 and Healthy People 2030, we can change and limit the access of healthy people option, promote greater knowledge and preventative measure in our community as well.
During the assessment phase, we conducted the survey and then recognized that one of the issues in our community is health disparity related to nutrition, such as diabetes and heart disease. We are planning to use the information acquired from our survey data to plan a community event in partnership with local entities to increase education and awareness of healthy diets and lifestyle. By collaborating with Cultura Hidalgo y Oaxaca restaurant, we hope to help the community to make healthy choices that could improve their health. This includes cooking classes, increasing awareness of healthy options, including plant-based foods and the 80% rule, and increasing knowledge of where to locally purchase organic produce.
Going forward into this project, we plan on incorporating our education plan with the Cultura Hidalgo y Oaxaca restaurant over the summer, so that it is ready for evaluation by our fall semester. Here is our references, and I believe we are complete.
Does anybody have any questions?
Oh, I always have questions. Somebody else have questions first?
Are you opening that
Do
up to
you-
students as well?
Yeah, everybody.
Thorpe, you can go first. Ms. Thorpe.
Oh, I was just wondering, did you have another, a video poster? I know this part is hard with us doing this on Zoom.
We reached out to the Culturas Hidalgo y Oaxaca restaurant, the contact that I have there. But unfortunately, they were too busy to provide us with a video. That's what we're attempting to do. We were able to incorporate pictures into our PowerPoint from the cooking class that we participated in. So slide number 9 shows you that was our Zoom meeting, but the PowerPoint unfortunately wasn't able to hold the entire Zoom meeting. It was about an hour long, so.
Okay, all right. So have you all tried these recipes? Has anyone tried them yet?
Yes.
The picture on the left is actually at my house. I did make it and it was delicious.
Really? Okay, good. Anyone else? Who else said yes?
I did, Ms. Thorpe. It's easy to follow the instructions. The video it was longer because the guy he was explaining more in detail of everything and why he chose his items, because they were close so people could buy them to the local grocery store. So that's why he chose those items for it. And so I did make it. It's easy to make, and it doesn't take that long to make.
Great, okay.
And this was the restaurant that we recommended to you and your daughter, Mrs. Thorpe. Were you able to go and try it out?
No, I did not, but I think we will have to make it there. Yeah.
They have amazing burritos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You also try the calabaza. It's like a tostada taco. It's a pumpkin. It has pumpkin in there, a specific type. That one's good. And it's just vegetarian.
What is patin? It's what is patin?
Pumpkin.
Oh, pumpkin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That one's really good. That one's actually my favorite dish from them.
Okay.
they use a lot of like the pumpkin squash blossom and that sort of thing. They also use it's some type of I cannot pronounce it, I apologize, but it's some kind of rare fungus that grows on corn based in their community, and they use it. It's considered mostly like a truffle, so they use it kind of like a delicacy in their cooking with some of the
Wow.
dishes.
Good. Anyone else have questions?
It's with La Coche, by the way.
That's it. Perfect, Raul.
So in your paper, you talked about also partnering with WIC. Is that still an option, or have you concentrated more on Blue Zones, your contact with Genevieve and the restaurant?
We actually reached out in the beginning of the semester. We've been going to WIC, and then we've been calling the supervisor. Her name is Gina, but unfortunately, like towards the end, she was very busy to collaborate with us with their project in the community. That's why we just geared towards the Oaxaca and the Cultura Hidalgo restaurant. But we have like recipes from them as well that Gina gave to us.
Okay, good. Okay.
Nice. And so for when you do your event, will it be similar to when you did the Zoom? Like, will it be a cooking class kind of type thing, and then pamphlets and education? Is that the kind of same idea?
Yes.
Okay. And then what have you thought yet about like what you're going to evaluate? Because I noticed you had the nursing process very nicely on that slide, and you're in implementation, and then you had evaluation. You may not have, but like, what are things that you would be interested in evaluating?
One of the things that that I was really interested in, and I think our group discussed it as well, was the fact that we want our community to be able to correlate the relation between nutrition and how it plays a part in their health and their current disease processes. So if they have an understanding of stuff that they can kind of swap out for, other nutritional things that would give them a better value and more beneficial in preventing exacerbation of their disease process or worsening of it. We're really hoping to put that into play and just kind of give them examples. Okay, instead of this meat option, you can use, these vegetables as a supplement for that, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, or anything to give them ideas of what they can do just a little bit differently, or, if they want to go more and, have more information, that's fine. But just so that they can correlate it with their disease process and, just have a deeper understanding.
Thank you. I think my favorite part of your project is that you're actually taking into account what's actually available in their local markets.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's wonderful. So kudos.
Yeah, that was actually what my question was how they went about figuring out what they could put in the recipes. Like, did somebody actually go visit like the stores in the area? Did they call, I was just like, how did you do? Did you really? That's awesome.
I actually didn't go to the stores physically because of the COVID restrictions and not being entirely sure where I was going down there, but I was able to get the grocery stores and do a little bit of research to see like Yelp reviews, pictures that have been posted. So I got a lot of pictures of their produce department, what is readily available during different times of the year. And then a lot of the recipes as well. It wasn't just the fresh produce. It was a lot of, you can swap out for canned items as well, like canned corn and stuff like that. So if they don't have the freshest ingredients available, then they can still have a healthy option.
Yes. Mrs. Kuzno said that she thinks she's going to make these recipes. I am too, I think.
They're super simple, very easy.
Awesome.
Nice.
All right.
Okay. Let's see. I think that's it on the questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So let's go to, who's our next person here?
Chinatown.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, very well done. There's your round of applause.
Woo. Let's see.
So who's sharing for Chinatown?
Chinatown.
Yeah.
You go.
I didn't really need to ask the question, did I?
I want to make sure first, if I hit mute, so in case the dogs start barking, can I do that on my computer and you guys will all still be able to hear?
Mhm. Yep. All right.
Okay, so this is Chinatown. All right, who's presenting?
So I'll start. Hi guys. Thank you for joining us today. We're the A team in our community is Chinatown. Our zip code is 93901. Within the zip code, we decided to focus on the houseless population and their health needs. Our group members are Emily, Amanda, Kelly, JJ, Selena, Hugo, Francisco, Mai, Raul, and myself.
City of Salinas is home to 157,596 people, 1,886 of those who live in Chinatown. The reason why we chose Chinatown is because they are the most vulnerable and marginalized population in Monterey County, and we felt that this was a place that we could really provide some help. The largest groups here are white and Hispanic men. However, the African American and female populations have begun to rise. And the majority of the residents are in their 30s to 50s. However, there are a lot of teens and young people who are experiencing homelessness for the first time, and even some children. When we first started planning, it was really difficult to come up with an idea that would be beneficial to the Chinatown houseless community population as a whole, since there are so many wide and varied needs. However, in the spirit of whole patient care and thinking of the community as a patient, we stuck with it and decided that we're first going to run a small donation drive to kind of get boots on the ground. And we're going to start with a focused healthcare need. When we participated in a vaccination clinic last semester, we noticed that skincare and skin integrity was a really big need for this community. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a drive where we give out supplies to help with foot care and also education pamphlets for dealing with foot care and foot wounds. When we hand out these foot care packages, we're going to grab some data from the community members, including what gender they identify as, what age range they're in, how long they've been homeless, and then what items they feel that they're needing and what education they feel that they would like more of. And our big project is going to be at the end of the summer. And so we want to kind of get feedback from them about specifically what ideas would really help them. In our larger drive this summer, we're going to be giving out, in addition to the supplies they feel that they need, we'll be giving out informational and educational flyers on common STIs and how to help prevent them, birth control options that are going to be useful for this specific demographic, infection and basic wound care, and then information on signing up for Medi-Cal. These flyers will be double-sided with one side English and one side Spanish, and they'll be made at a 5th grade reading level to make sure that it's really accessible for the whole population. We'll also be keeping binders at 2 of the local businesses down there, Dorothy's Kitchen and The Mission, with laminated copies, so that way if these flyers get lost or thrown away, the community members have ways to go back and reference them later. We were also informed of massive sweeps that happen really frequently, where the police come through and they kick out the residents and basically tell them to take what they can carry. Anything that they cannot carry, their belongings get thrown away. So what we plan to do is to do a drive for the skills duffel bags from nursing and allied health students, where at the end, when they're done with them, they can donate them and any other bags or suitcases that they would like to donate. And we will be bringing those down for the community members so they can use that to be able to carry more of their belongings when they do have to move. And we really hope that this project can be continued on by future groups of students, both with the duffel bags and then keeping the educational pamphlets updated to adapt to the changing needs of the community.
In our role as the community-based nurse, we identified that it is important to continue establishing a therapeutic relationship with the Chinatown residents and to allow them to be a part of the planning process. During this semester, we continued to build upon pre-existing relationships with community organizations such as Victory Mission Salinas, Blue Zone Project, Salinas Valley Outreach, and Downtown Streets. As community health nurses, it is our job to first assess the needs of the community and to let those identified needs direct what resources and supplies are acquired and implemented. Our goal is to provide patient-centered care that allows the Chinatown community members, our patient, involved in the healthcare decision-making process. Studies show that treating patients as an equal in their plan of care improves treatment outcomes and increased participation of their health. After collaborating with the community organizations, we came to a consensus that infection control was the most common need to promote the health of the Chinatown residents.
All right, and the evolving, emerging role of the nurse, that's me. So in the first semester, each one of us, each student brought varying levels of confidence that would kind of wax and wane depending on the new challenges that we faced both academically and clinically. And of course, COVID didn't help either. So it's for this reason that I believe the main role of the nurse as first semester students was to merely adapt to the new community and the new styles of learning that comes with hands-on patient care, especially for people who hadn't had any experience with that before. And then in third semester, at that point, we will now have at least a year of experience developing our role as a nurse within the community and with our own personal skills. I believe that we will evolve and embody a leadership role that does not come from a place of authority, but rather solidarity and connection with the Chinatown residents. And I believe that we can do this by providing them with physical and educational tools that will help them make their own decisions about their health and their wellness.
So our community is very diverse in the demographics of the people who live there and in their individual needs. So when it comes to viewing our community as a single client, I tend to picture a body with different organs and different systems. Each organ or system has different needs, and oftentimes, as we're learning, when one organ or system is not as healthy as it could be, the negative effects cascade through other areas of the body. In order for a body to survive, there are a few very basic needs that absolutely must be met: food, water, shelter from extreme elements, etc. And this community does not have regular guaranteed access to any of these things. So we recognize that according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs model, which we went over, I believe, in first semester, we must first address these issues before we can expect much upward movement into more complex issues. To address that first tier of needs, we've planned to put together care kits with many different supplies after we gather the information directly from them in terms of what they feel they need, because we want to keep them very hands-on with this project and with their health. And to we're building those donations with we're building those care kits, sorry, with donations and fundraised money, basically, to help with the upward movement into the more complex needs of the community. We've planned to provide the educational materials mentioned previously, with, again, the hopes that we'll continue to evolve with the community's needs with future students.
Okay, so our aim is to combine Healthy People and Blue Zones initiatives. One of the leading health indicators that we chose was increasing the proportion of individuals who receive appropriate evidence-based clinical preventive services. And we chose this because it was one of the top 4 health concerns in Monterey County. There was this need to shift from urgent care to preventive care. And as we mentioned earlier, we already spoke with different community organizations, and a similar theme that we found when discussing what the community's needs were was preventive care. A second leading health indicator that we also want to address is reducing sexually transmitted infections and their complications and improving access to quality STI care through the contraceptives that we plan to provide through our care kits. And we chose this because, again, it was another top health concerns that was brought up when we were discussing with our community partners. And now Francisco will go ahead and talk about the Blue Zones.
Our group has focused this semester on establishing a relationship with the community and what resources are actually needed. I reached out to Lisa Wegley, a engagement lead from Blue Zones, our point of contact from our first semester, who we collaborated on a meeting to introduce our team to Maria Cambrone, Associate Director of Downtown Streets, and other Blue Zone project members, Maribel Roque and Carissa Lopez. The goal for our community project is to help guide the community in Chinatown to wake up with a sense of purpose in their life each day following Blue Zone's Power 9 from our first semester. The first step is to bridge the gap in our community following Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the Power 9, and have identified our community is in the basic needs and psychological needs. And we feel that training the community to self-fulfilling needs to achieve one's full potential is our goal. Our team is in collaboration with Blue Zone Project and Downtown Streets in the hope that the next class uses our point of contacts and both organizations to have annual educational hygiene drives and possible health screenings in the future.
So as you can probably tell, there's a theme running through our presentation. How do we as nurses actually collaborate with this community in addressing their needs? I mean, we've heard a lot of ideas and a lot of options thrown around, but as a group, do we rush into their community arms full, bringing gifts and education, and drop them off and hope things work out? No, that's not what we wanted to do. There is an actual condition called improvement fatigue. It's seen through different organizations and community groups that are meaning to do well, but in essence, what happens is they go into communities and they simply donate clothing and money and things of that nature. And is it really doing the community any good? We did not want to do that. We found in doing some research that about 30% of donations are actually deemed by the community as being of low value or wasteful to them. So while we're actually had the opportunity to do this little dry run and give these packages, we're actually getting face-to-face with the community. And we're going to have the opportunity to talk to them and see what their needs are. We've been there, but this community is not one that may be as trustful. So to be able to see us there and to have us face-to-face with the community, it is an important part of our project. So then tell me, how can we as nurses do better?
Is anyone even listening to us? I mean, that's something that I'm sure a lot of people in Chinatown ask, does anybody really pay attention to what it is that we need? A lot of people are willing to, kind of like Raul was talking about, walk into a community and just throw down some used sweaters or, bring in a box of donuts. We feel that a lot of the people that have gone in there haven't really actually paid attention to what the true needs of this population is. And so that's why we as community nurses are trying to collaborate with the community and the community leaders in trying to determine what is going to best help this particular community.
All right, as Hugo is bringing up our second visual aid, I will wrap things up by summarizing where our project is as of today. This flyer that Hugo will be pulling up was made in collaboration with the Downtown Street team and Blue Zone Projects. This was to raise supply for our more comprehensive package giveaway, which we are planning for August. And while this handout does say that we are done with our donation window, we will of course continue to take donations up through the summer. In addition to the box of supplies that we currently have that we were able to raise through this flyer, we have additionally raised over $1,200 for our packages that we will be handing out. And we have already purchased the supplies for our smaller targeted test giveaway that we have scheduled for May 28th. Our next goal is to work on the educational material that is going to go with those packages that will focus on foot care and wound care and fresh socks that we will include with those packages. And so as we're working with that educational material, as Emily mentioned previously, it will be both in English and Spanish, as we identified those are the primary languages spoken in our community. And we are going to be writing at a 5th grade level. And we're doing this targeted first test run to test the logistics of our distribution and to continue to get feedback from our community, because we recognize that this is a very fluid demographic that we're working with, and we always need to have an ear to the ground of what are the needs, and so that when we do our final big push in August, we will have the best educational material that we can targeted to the needs of that community. As a final note for the class, if you remember anything from this presentation, on our skills final on the 20th, we will have a donation site for empty skills bags. If you are willing to donate your empty skills bags that we get for all the supplies for our skills class. We're doing this because we identified a need in our community because they are forced to relocate a lot on the streets, that they need to have bags to put their stuff because they're often losing a lot of their property as they're being forced to relocate. All right, so that's everything. Are there any questions?
Nice job. You're doing great.
I just have one or two. How are you collecting the monetary donations?
We're collecting them personally, so people can either donate through PayPal, cash, check, or through Venmo. And then we are putting them in kind of one large pot, and then we have one of our cohort members that's kind of utilizing that money, and they're the ones making all of the purchases. And then we have a sheet that keeps track of all of the incoming money and all of the outgoing money. And then everybody that has donated is receiving thank you letters from our team.
Nice. And then one other question, and this might be something I'm just not aware of. Why did you use because I noticed this in your paper too, houseless versus homeless?
So not everybody who is houseless necessarily feels like they do not have a home.
Okay.
Oftentimes you find a group of people who have possibly chosen to live this way and they're fine with that. And we just found it kind of more respectful of those people as well to not just have a blanket homeless statement.
Good. I was kind of thinking that, but I was like, oh, I'm going to see if that was what that was. Okay. Anyone else?
We just real quick, I just wanted to say that we are also storing these donations at Downtown Streets at their office off of Central Avenue.
Oh, that's great. Good to know. Will you accept suitcases as well as duffel bags?
Yes.
Yeah, we had talked about that. Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry. Any suitcases or backpacks that are like in working order, basically anything that can be like zipped up or closed.
So they can, right.
They can take their stuff with them.
Okay,
nice.
That's wonderful. So I'm clear on the on the Healthy People 2030, for the blue zones, is it all of the Power 9 or any specific Power 9 of the Power 9 you're focusing on?
Purpose was our main focus, and we hope to trend the community to build them. See, right now we feel like they're comfortable and they have like kind of had followed the Power 9, like kind of like they built their own little tribe, like surrounding themselves with people that have the same interest. So we want to shift that to the right tribe, which is a part of the Power 9 Blue Zones philosophy also.
Gotcha. And then my final question would be like, what type of evaluation criteria then are you going to be using? Like what are your goals and what are you hoping to accomplish to be able to evaluate something?
When we do our second larger drive at the end of the summer, when we have people come, and again, we'll be asking the same demographics that we asked at the first one, so we can kind of track where they're going within the population. And then another question will be added, did you get one of our packages back in May? And then were the supplies useful to you? Did you feel that the education was helpful to you? And have you been able to actually utilize that in your life moving forward? And then we would like to also go back into the community after we do our big package drive and ask those same questions for all of the other educational pamphlets and supplies that we have given out.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Nice. Anyone else?
I think two real quick things.
David, you have your hand up?
Oh, no, he's clapping.
Oh, you're clapping. Okay.
I wanted to throw two real quick things in before. We had a very, very large donation that we wanted to say thank you to the donor. That person may be in this room, they may not be in this room, but I was absolutely floored by the generosity that people have been showing for this particular event that we're doing. And so, anybody that contributes, I mean, we thank you so much. The residents of Chinatown, thank you so much. In talking with a few of them out there, they heavily rely on some of the things that we help them out with, so with people donating, even if it's donating, just your used bag that I'm sure most students at the end of the year just end up throwing out, right? Because we don't need it, but for somebody like, somebody in Chinatown, it allows them to take their belongings with them when the police are throwing them basically out of their house. And so, something like that can really mean a lot. So we just want to say thank you for any donations, either present or future. Good.
One other question. What is the zip code for Chinatown?
93901. It's part of 93901. 93901 is a very large zip code. Okay. And so Chinatown is in 93901, but 93901 isn't just Chinatown.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Thank you. Nice job. Next up is Chular, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll be sharing my screen for this one.
Okay.
All right, good morning, everyone. So we're the Night Owls. For those who don't know, Chular is where we based our community project from. As you guys can see, Chular zip code 93925. And just real brief, Chular is a small town located south of Salinas here in our Monterey County. Our focus in Chular is to provide nutritional education to promote healthy lifestyle choices that will overall contribute to a life without illness. Our original plan in Chular was to implement a community garden where community members can contribute and come together in growing nutritious foods that they currently do not have access to within their community. But during that process, we were faced with many obstacles and had to make adjustments due to COVID-19, which led to our decision on moving forward with collaborating with the Food Bank of Monterey County, where not only were we given the opportunity to give food to those that are in need, but also educate the community members of Chular in healthier food choices and food meals that they can implement with the food that they receive during these food banks.
Okay, so like Marco was saying, Chular is a small community that lacks resources that would help promote. Hold on, give me 1 second, please. That would help promote adequate, healthy lifestyle for members within the community. So, upon our assessment of the community, there are approximately 1,190 people within the community, according to a 2010 census. People within the community are primarily Hispanic and Latino, and partake in agricultural work. The town has 2 small local markets, which have very limited amount of food supplies, meaning that people either have to go down south to Gonzales or down north to Salinas to acquire groceries for their family, because at the markets they don't really have like really much there to offer besides like processed foods. And Chular also has one school that hosts preschool through 8th grade, and also along with weekly food banks, which we hope to be a part of this upcoming summer or whenever we have the opportunity to be a part of. I will go on.
So during the process of assessing our community and planning our project, we have been in contact with 3 key community members: Ms. Gomez, the school nurse, Veronica, the food service manager, and Liz, the volunteer food bank coordinator of Monterey County. Ms. Gomez, the school nurse, helped us determine the resources that Chular was limited to or that she felt they were in need of. This is where we determined that we want to focus our project on health and nutrition education. Ms. Gomez shared that many of the children eat the school lunches. We then got in contact with the school's food service manager, Veronica. This is where we learned that majority of families in Chular have been receiving free meals through the food bank, as well as free school lunches during the pandemic. She also shared that the meals consisted of rice, beans, vegetables, and fruits, offering a well-balanced meal. After contacting Veronica, we reached out to Liz, the volunteer food bank coordinator of Monterey County. She shared that every Thursday in Chular, they have a food bank where most of the community comes and receives food. Receives food since they don't have a local grocery store in their small town. In an effort to collaborate with the community, we have also created a flyer that discusses disease prevention, optimal nutrition, and physical activity. We plan on passing the flyers out to the community of Chular while collaborating with the Food Bank of Monterey County. David and Crystal will now go over the flyer.
Okay, so like Whitney had mentioned, the flyer we created provides information regarding healthy food choices, how nutrition helps keep our bodies healthy, and the importance of physical activity and its benefits. It promotes education at a level in which all ages would be able to comprehend. And then we have a quote via the Dietary Guidelines for American, which just promotes how nutrition is vital to maintaining the optimal health and how the healthy food choices help control weight and produce steps in promoting health and reducing risk factors for diseases. The graph below depicts the components that are necessary in order to sustain optimal health, and that comes from myplate.org. The graph also suggests tips in regarding each category on the amount and types of food that should be included within each meal. A nice thing about our flyer is that it's age-friendly visual aids information could be placed on the fridge as a reminder. The first category below suggests a bit of options for vegetables and the vitamins and antioxidants included. It also gives the amount sizes recommended, which for here it would be 2.5 cups. The next category, fruits, talks about the immune boosting power that fruits such as 100% orange juice, grapefruits, and lemons give. It also gives other healthy options in selection of other fruits.
So the next category that we have are our grains. So as opposed to like white breads or tortillas, we recommend, or the resource recommend whole grains, and here it has a discussion of the importance of them and the vitamins and minerals they provide. So here's a list of them. Our next category is protein, and like all the other ones, it describes the importance, has a serving size. And here we have a bunch of options. So we have lean beef, chicken breast, and turkey for those who consume meat. We have eggs for those who are vegetarian. And for those who are vegan, there are nut options and tofu as well. And finally, our last category is dairy. So we have once again, we have the importance and the serving size as well. And like Crystal said, the graph is really great because it can be a daily reference for parents or young adults to place on their fridge. And finally, we have physical activity. So we chose images that have, work across the lifespan. So as you can see right here, we have young children doing physical activities. Great examples of that. We have a description of the importance of it as well, and to make sure that they do it for at least an hour a day. And right here we have images of adults. This could work for young adults to older adults, exercises that they can do. And we have a list of the benefits as well, and our references. And we plan to make a Spanish version of this. And as we're out in the community, as we provide education, we could even provide we can compile a FAQ page, a frequently asked question page, and add that as well.
So is the flyer your other presentation part?
Yes.
Okay.
And now I'll pass it on to Vanessa for healthy people.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you were done.
Okay, so this semester, although we are focusing on Healthy People 2030, we are still implementing one leading health indicator for Healthy People 2020. The leading health indicator is nutrition, physical activity, and obesity. This topic still ties in with our project this semester and going forward, since there are only 2 markets in town which do not provide enough nutritious foods. Also, at the moment, there aren't any places for kids to exercise and run around because the only park in town is at the elementary school, which is still closed due to COVID-19. Therefore, they haven't been able to exercise much. Our target audience is from ages 2 and up. We want to help children grow up with the knowledge of eating and exercising, as well as educating their parents so they're able to implement those practices at home. We will no longer be using the 2 other Healthy People 2020 leading health indicators, which are environmental quality and limited healthcare services, which Nick and Roberto will further elaborate on.
This semester, we are implementing 2 leading health indicators from the Healthy People 2030. These leading health indicators include the consumption of calories from added sugars by persons aged 2 years and over, as well as children and adolescents with obesity. These 2 leading health indicators were chosen because of the town of Chular severely lacks nutritious foods for the community. The 2 towns are heavily stocked with sodas, candies, and chips, which contribute to excess sugar intake and obesity. We hope through our education that we can reduce the prevalence of obesity as well as other significant health issues such as diabetes, hypertension, and cholesterol.
So as we discovered in first semester, Blue Zones is an organization that is dedicated to promoting sustainable, common sense changes that help make healthy choices easier for the population of a given community. The way that they help ensure healthy choices are more easily accessible is by making permanent alterations to the environment, policy, and social networks of that community. So last semester, when we had initially reached out to Blue Zones, we discovered 3 ideals from their Power 9 that we thought fit perfectly into our project. And the first of these is the 80% rule. What this means is that one should practice eating mindfully by recognizing when they are 80% full rather than 100%. And the second ideal that we liked is called Plant Slant, and this includes adding more fruits and vegetables into the diet. The people of Chular can especially stand to benefit from this, considering the serious lack of fruits and veggies available to them at their local markets. The last ideal was called Move Naturally, and it's as simple as it sounds. Finding ways to move around and get the blood pumping is beneficial to everybody, and it's a very important part of living a more healthy life. Unfortunately, since Blue Zones doesn't have a presence in Chular and won't for quite some time, we decided to go with Healthy People 2030 for our project moving forward.
Last semester, we had all the intentions of utilizing Blue Zones and their ideals in our project. However, this semester, we've shifted our attention and focus to Healthy People 2030. This is primarily due to 2 reasons that contributed to our decision. The first reason being, as Nick mentioned, Blue Zones would not be reaching Chular anytime soon. Last we spoke to Blue Zones, Kendra Howell, policy lead at Blue Zones, they had mentioned that they wouldn't be reaching South Monterey County till late 2021, possibly 2022. And even then, their main focus would have been King City and Gonzales. The second and most important reason was primarily influenced by our initial assessment of the community and its 2 food marts that they have in town. When we walked into the stores, we noticed that sodas, candies, chips, and other high sugar items were the only options for snacks and foods. The items were filled the shelves from the top to the bottom of the shelves and from the front to the back of the store. So this led us to think that when kids after school come looking to satisfy their hunger, they're faced with nothing but deciding between high sugar snacks and processed foods. People, especially children who eat too much added sugar, are at a higher risk for tooth decay and obesity, which is what one of the Healthy People 2030 leading health indicators talks about. Obesity itself creates a whole world of problems. Some of these include issues relating to the concepts that we have been talking about in school all year: perfusion, mobility, glucose regulation, and elimination. Those are just to name a few. To add, COVID has exacerbated some of these concepts as well. During my clinical rotation at CSPS in Soledad this past week, I was talking to the family nurse practitioner about how she had noticed that there'd been an increasingly large number of children gaining weight, which has in turn negatively affected their mood, leading to depression in some cases. Having said that, we are hoping to encourage people to make healthier decisions in regards to what foods they eat. Through in-person education and through the support of our nutritional flyer, we hope to teach families how to avoid these foods with added sugars by primarily focusing on fruits and vegetables. So moving forward, we're going to be focusing on Healthy People 2030, but we will keep in mind Blue Zones. And if there ever comes a time that we need advice and or guidance, we will reach out to Kendra at Blue Zones in Monterey.
Is that it? Or, oh,
No.
okay.
Like Marco said earlier, our plan from last semester was to help create a local community garden in Chula Community School, in Chula Elementary School, so that students could cultivate and harvest some veggies and fruit. Unfortunately, this semester we encountered a number of roadblocks that were primarily due to the ongoing COVID pandemic. The elementary school had been closed for some time until now, which did not help us because the garden would have not been accessible. To add, we also learned that our project could not be initiated or implemented without the approval of the school board. And all our attempts to get in contact with the elementary school board were unsuccessful. So after some brainstorming as a group, and since the food bank, the Monterey County Food Bank is one of our partners, we adjust to our goals. And then we chose to work with food bank and participate in the opportunities to offer some educational section to the community members. And our focal contact at the food bank is Liz Simpsons. We invited her this morning, but unfortunately she's not able to attend to our Zoom meeting. As now, we hope to split our 10 members of a group into 3 different groups in case we have that opportunity to go to do our educational section with the food bank. So the plan is one group will be like working, having some information from a working line when there will be when people will be online. So we'll be asking them what having healthy foods mean for them, what they put in plate as far as healthy food is concerned. And then based on that, we can give them more information, more food to add based on our flowers. Because we don't just want to like show up and then tell them, okay, you need to eat this food or you need to eat that food. We need to base on their knowledge and then do for that. So another group of 3 or 4 people will be like helping food bank, passing out some food as assistance. And then the third group will be giving some information and then knowledge about nutrition and then physical activities to the community members who will show up with their vehicles.
So with that said, we just want you guys to know that the Night Owls are definitely not done in Chular, and we will continue to implement change and better the outcomes for both the Healthy People 2030 and Blue Zone projects coming this fall. And that is our presentation. Any questions?
Do you have a plan for evaluation? Just, I know it's been difficult trying to even get it off the ground, and kudos to the group. Is there anything, any particular data that you want to, evaluate once you get your project going?
I can speak on that. So when we hand out the flyer, before we talk to them what's on the flyer, we want to ask them what their knowledge is already on nutrition, how they exercise, or how their family views nutrition and exercise, and what their beliefs are on that. Then we will read them the flyer and then have them repeat back what they learned, as well as asking them if that's something they're willing to implement and want to change as part of their lifestyle.
Nice, thank you. That was all my questions.
Yeah, you guys did a nice job. Reading your paper, I realized it must have been a little frustrating going into this. I like the idea that you still, even though blue zones aren't going to be there, but you're still talking about incorporating some of those ideas that you want into your education. The other thing, I just had a couple comments on your flyer. You might want to try to condense it a little bit so that if you're thinking it's going to be a refrigerator kind of thing, I mean, I know it's kind of hard to put all that information in one place, just a comment. And you did say that you're going to put it in Spanish. So again, just looking at the visual part, the diversity of pictures and everything that you have on your flyer, just a comment, but good job. Anyone else have questions?
I was just gonna say, I like the information that you guys provided on your flyer. You might just have to go on with the double-sided flyer. That might work, but very good information on it.
Yep. Good. No one else has a question? No? Okay. All right, nice job. Let's see, so let's see, the last one is Castroville, right?
Alrighty. Let's see. So Adamir is going to be sharing our presentation. Oh, there we go. Sorry, my internet's a little delayed. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our brief presentation. My name is Jasmine Ortiz, and we are here today to represent Castroville, California, home of the 95012. I am pleased to welcome the following members of our group: Myra, Adamir, Isaac, Grace, Margaret, Sam, Aaron, Maricruz, and Alfredo. With that being said, I will now allow Alfredo to introduce to you Castroville.
Thank you, Jasmine. So Castroville is located north of Monterey County. Its population consists of 89.1% of Hispanics. Hispanics love food that consists of high carbs, high fat, and that fits in their low income budget. This diet tends to lead to obesity, which then leads to secondary hypertension, diabetes, and high cholesterol. This was apparent to us that the population is in need of education, disease management. That being said, I'll now pass it on to Maricruz.
You there, Maricruz?
Maria, I think you're muted.
Is she muted? Yeah.
Oh,
I was muted, sorry.
It's okay.
So I'm going to talk about the assessment of the community during our first semester. So the majority of the Castroville's population are low income and undocumented agricultural workers. As well, the Castroville community lacks a lot of services. They only have a Clínica de Salud, but the Clínica de Salud only has limited services. They only have the primary physician, the dentist, and a chiropractic clinic. The community also lacks a pharmacy, where there is a lot of potential to educate about diagnosis and medications.
I will be discussing our community partners that we've been collaborating with. So we've been working with Our Lady Refuge Church and Castroville Elementary. They've both offered their sites for our community project and have given us information on our target population. We've been working with VNA. Andrea and Luz have been our contacts. Unfortunately, they weren't able to attend today's Zoom meeting, but we've been communicating with them via email and have also met them in the community to work on our collaboration efforts. VNA has been a great community health nurse role model to us and very supportive of our project. And they're excited to be working in conjunction with Hartnell Nursing and Allied Health moving forward into third semester. I'll be passing it on to Isaac to discuss Blue Zones.
All right, so our Blue Zones focus was Plant Slant, which aims to promote 2 or more servings of vegetables at each meal, including beans and legumes, and limiting quantities of meat. This follows the USDA's My Plate recommendations to make more fruits and vegetables the majority of one's diet. The following recipe contains simple and easy to follow instructions that continue to keep in mind the community's culture. While focusing on culture, individuals will be more inclined to be compliant with dietary guidelines and continue to promote health in a way that is more comfortable and less restrictive. This recipe also keeps in mind the local agriculture harvested in the area as to reduce costs to the decreased socioeconomic status of our community. This recipe includes a plentiful array of ingredients focused primarily on vegetables. Not only is the recipe simple, but it takes less than 45 minutes to complete. The ingredients themselves can be modified in countless ways to meet dietary restrictions or macronutrient desires. Now we'll play a 2-minute clip demonstrating just how easy this recipe is to follow.
This recipe you will need 1 bunch of cilantro, 1 head of cauliflower, 1 red cabbage, 1 red onion, a couple cloves of garlic, 2 jalapenos, 2 avocados, 1 tablespoon of water, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of fresh lime juice, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon ground cumin, a 1/4 teaspoon onion powder, a 1/4 teaspoon garlic powder, 1 teaspoon ancho chili powder, 1 teaspoon regular chili powder, 1 15-ounce can of chickpeas, 1 cup of sour cream, and corn tortillas. In a bowl, mix all of your dry ingredients, the lime juice, the water, and the olive oil. Stir well. Now we're going to add garlic, the chickpeas, and the cauliflower florets. I underestimated the quantity of cauliflower, not once, but twice. If you have a big enough bowl, stir everything up. Place the seasoned chickpeas and cauliflower on a greased baking sheet. Now we're going to roast them for 30 minutes, kind of stirring occasionally while it's cooking until the chickpeas are slightly crispy and the cauliflower is tender. In the meantime, mix the sour cream with the lime juice and cilantro. Add salt and pepper to taste. And so, the taco construction begins. I'll meet you in Virginia. Add a little lime and roll that beautiful taco footage. I'll meet you in Virginia.
So recipes like this will be demonstrated and taught to our community while implementing our community project next semester. I'll now give the floor to Sammy, who will discuss our next topic.
So our first leading health indicator is access to health services. And this means that we can detect and treat illnesses. We can do that, then we can increase the quality of life and life expectancy. But the problem with our community is there's only one healthcare facility and there's no pharmacies, and all the hospitals are located outside of our town. The second leading health indicator is clinical preventative services. And this states that routine disease screening and up-to-date vaccinations are key to preventing morbidity and mortality. But again, like I stated, we only have one healthcare facility in our community, so vaccine appointments fill up quickly, and residents have to travel out of town to receive their necessary immunizations. So these indicators sort of inspired our future plans, which will be discussed later in the presentation. And now I'll hand it off to Aaron.
Okay, so I'm here to talk a little bit about our relationship with the community and how it's evolved. Excuse me. So as we've progressed through the phases of this project, our relationship has become a lot more of a two-way street, more of a collaboration. When we first started out, it was, now it's just us asking a lot of questions. As we moved into this planning phase, though, there's been a lot more back and forth, especially with our partners. We're trying to figure out, what's the most beneficial for our community, but what's actually feasible, especially in this climate. And moving into the next phase of implementation, it's going to be highly collaborative because we need not just feedback and stuff, but actually actual cooperation. So we hope to transition from asking questions in the community to help answering questions, and this will allow us to build trust moving forward. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and kick it off to Admir, who's going to talk about what our plans are.
So as Grace mentioned earlier, during our first semester assessment of our community, we have incorporated evidence-based research by both researching the statistics data as well as interviewing members of the community. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So like I was saying, we incorporated evidence-based research by both researching the statistical data as well as interviewing members of the community of Castroville by creating a small survey in which we address the needs of Castroville's community. We were able to successfully reach out to the VNA, Our Lady of Refugee, and Castroville Elementary School to discuss our project. Our plan A is to outline and carry out an educational health fair where we would achieve a multiple of operations. We will provide teaching on diseases of the community, hand out bilingual flyers to fortify the teaching, establishing communications and acquaintance ourselves with the community. Our focus during the health fair we are planning next semester is to provide direct care by taking vital signs, monitoring blood sugars, and even providing food demonstrations. All information and amenities at the fair will be provided free of charge, such as flyers, healthy snacks, and waters. We will continue to utilize websites and applications such as MyPlate to assist individuals with the correct portion sizing, shopping on reduced income, and reduction of specific additives of food such as excess of salt and oils to promote healthy habits. We hope to advance in our role as a nurse by successfully executing our plan. Now I will go ahead and introduce Mara, which she will explain our plan B.
Unfortunately, because of COVID-19, we found that for the safety of our residents and ours, it will be good to come up with a plan B. So since the COVID-19 pandemic has reminded the world the power of vaccines to fight disease and create healthier and better future, moving forward, strong immunization systems will be needed to ensure that people everywhere are protected against COVID-19. And the community of Castroville has limited health services, and this could potentially affect members of the community from having access to the vaccine. For Plan we decided that we can possibly partner up with the community association to create a pathway for our community members to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. For instance, we can partner up with the VNA and Chispas. VNA is a COVID-ready partner that is offering community clinics. And since some of the community members don't understand the implications regarding COVID-19 vaccine and disease process, we could also provide a flyer, a bilingual flyer, so that to educate the community members about the potential side effects and how can they keep themselves safe and healthy. And I'm gonna pass it on to Margaret.
Okay, so that concludes our presentation. So here's just some pictures of us out in the community, as well as us welcoming our 2 new members, Grace and Alfredo. And thank you so much for watching our presentation. It was great watching everyone else's presentation, and we hope to see everyone else implement their plans in the 3rd semester. And the next 2 slides are just our references.
Does anybody have any questions?
I have one. In your paper, you talked about focusing on the younger age group. And I thought I saw like the 28-year-old, 18 to 28-year-old. So my question is, do you think you'll be able to really target that audience, that age group, with the places that you chose to focus on? You know, like, do you find that they do go to church, that it's a community that everybody goes to church, or is there, because you're gonna do the the school too, right? The elementary school, but it's only going to 8th grade. So is that, I guess the parents might be in that age group, right?
Yes, we choose that age group because first we believe like education is the base like of everything to prevent like kind of disease, like the diseases, and like educating them that would be like or target for like prevent these diseases or manage better if they already have. But like we choose the group size because at school we have a lot of like young mothers and about the age they go for to school to pick up their kids. And then also since the community is mostly like Hispanic Latinos, they have like culture habits, and usually most of the population that is our target, they go to church. And then our plan is like if one of our sites will be on the church, and the church like approach them like after mass and all that. That's
Oh, good. Okay, good. So you thought about that. And good job on the video. Nice job. Added a little bit of comedic stuff to it. That was good. Anyone else? Mrs. Solinger or Dr. Whitmore?
I actually don't, because I actually was with the group during their implementation of their Plan B. So since we're not dealing with that here, because that wasn't the point of second semester, because I already implemented, I'm good.
Okay, the other was just her, Mrs. Solinger's usual question is the eval part, but I think I heard you say that
That's
you
what
had
I
that
just say. That's what I'm
so-
saying, Ms. Thorpe. I'm not asking that question
because you
ended up
know.
doing a different, they did their Plan B.
Okay, gotcha.
Right? And so this presentation was more about their original plan.
The original. Okay. Good. Anyone else? All right. Well, I'm very impressed, everybody. It seemed to go very smooth. It seemed like you were well prepared. Nobody has questions for this group?
Ms. Cousineau, what are your thoughts? Because I think this is probably one of the first times you've been a part of this.
I was just starting to type in the chat. I was very impressed with the breadth of information that you all provided, citing, blue zones plus healthy people, plus your contacts with the local, groups such as Food Bank or VNA or the people down in Chinatown, those organizations. It shows how, what do you say, frustrating though public health can be, because the things that you think you might be able to do and then what you really can do sometimes turn out to be quite different. And then that part about evaluation is, wouldn't it be fun to know that, the obesity rates for the children actually decrease, but you're just not going to be able to measure that because, that's way out there, like a long-term goal. But I really am impressed with what you're doing. I'm impressed with the faculty who have supported this process. I'm sure there's been lots of time in the background that I don't appreciate to make this happen. And it is my goal to make sure that this continues on into third semester. So thank you all. Thank you all.
Good. Thank you. Dr. Whitmore, did you want to say something before we sign off?
I think she put a message in the chat, I think, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So I think that wraps up the presentations. I will go ahead and go into a little something for our
Bye.
Bye. Bye, guys.
You're gonna make me cry again. Those were great. Bye.
So now we got to go into a little heavier of a issue here, right? So this here, well, I guess I can keep the Zoom going, huh? Let's see. Let me bring up our.
Mrs. Thorpe,
Okay.
may we take a little bio break?
Pardon me?
May we take a little bio break? Maybe like Sorry.
Yeah, you want to do, can we do like 5 minutes?
That's fine, thank you.
Okay, awesome.
I didn't know about that. I thought it was someone else. That's crazy, huh? He weighs 65 pounds.
Christine, your phone is not muted.
Let's go. This is like the real one. For me. Oh, never mind. I killed the 50.
Hey, Christine, I don't know if you can hear us, but there we go.
We heard everything, Christine.
My pups heard all of your guys' presentation. They stayed in here the whole time. Okay, you guys can go on. Come on. Is everybody back? Okay, so is everybody pretty much back? Because we don't have much time here.
Ready,
Yep.
Mr.
Okay. Okay, so let me just start because there's just a couple of questions on this week, actually on the final, and I know you guys are all probably focused on that. Basically, the questions are, around therapeutic communication with a mom or a parent that has lost a child, specifically a child or a baby, a fetal demise, anything like that. And I'm trying to remember the other one was, yeah. Okay, let's see. So this week, or in this, therapeutic communication, remember, is goal-centered. And you're there to assist the client or the mother or the dad in healing, health promotion, and illness prevention. This is generally what therapeutic communication is, right? They also talk about, this is directly from your ATI slides, or your ATI on therapeutic communication. I just focused on the what you should do part, okay? I didn't go into, there's that whole other part where the nurse does everything pretty much wrong, but I just focused on that first part. So we talk about solar, sitting facing the client, observe an open position, lean towards the client, and establish, maintain eye contact, and take a big breath and relax. Some other parts, techniques is silence, letting her reflect, have time to reflect on her thoughts. You may need to ask a small question, but not a yes or no question, right? So I don't know how much we have to do here, but Claudia, apparently you had a patient this week that was had a fetal demise?
Yes.
Did you want to share anything about that?
So the nurse that I was following, she's been in postpartum about 23 years, she told me. And I think they ended up choosing her to have the patient because of I feel she carries herself really well. I even told her after when I was done at the end of the day, because I followed her before, actually a week prior. And so my experience of taking care of a patient that has had a hers was fetal demise. And actually it wasn't her first, it was her second fetal demise, but she does have 4 living children. And when we initially went into the room, the first thing my nurse said was, "I'm sorry." And just the way she said it in a really soft tone. You could feel the heaviness inside the room for the mom and the dad. And I followed as well. And I told them, "I'm sorry." And the mom nodded her head, and the dad as well. And we told her what we were going to be doing for her we still got to do some postpartum care. And they put a card outside the door with a butterfly that represents the loss of the baby. And I know we didn't say much. We stayed at a minimum, but we did ask like open questions, like the nurse did actually, and just to see how she was doing. And yeah, it was really hard, Mrs. Thorpe, to take care of a patient that has had that lost her baby.
So how many weeks was she?
She was 16 weeks and 2 days.
And did she get to hold her baby?
She did not want to, nor the father. I'm not sure on I'm still trying to understand the whole reason why, because their religion is Mormon, and I don't know much about it, but I did some research while I was there. And what I understood about Mormon is that they believe in like reincarnation, and I guess once if somebody passes, I guess it leaves the body. But then I read a little bit of baptism. So I think that's what was puzzling me, because it sounds like it's very heavily religious, but they said that they wanted the hospital to dispose of it. And that's I quote her, dispose of it, because my nurse, she made sure to wait some time and ask them again if they would like to, and they said no, the hospital can dispose of it.
Okay.
So that kind of took me a little bit like, because I was thinking, I don't know, I still don't know much about being Mormon, but I was thinking that they would, because the nurse took me to the labor and delivery because they had the baby there. So she took me to go see the baby, and the baby, you could see everything. The only thing you cannot tell is if it's a female or a male. That was the only thing. So that's why I guess like she called it, because they were not able to give her an answer for that if it was female or male.
Okay. So the baby was pretty small.
It fit in my hand, in the baby. Like if it was the size of my hand. I could see everything, the feet, everything, the little eyes, everything, just not able to tell female or male.
So, yeah, it's difficult. So anybody can add to this also, because, so as far as if we go to what was said in the room, basically it was very much respectful, it sounds like. The mood was kept soft and calm.
Yeah, the nurse, she says, no, she told me at the head, she goes, no high energy, you keep calm, you listen to the mom. Like she prepped me before going in. She's all like, you stay quiet, but I am gonna ask her some open-ended questions because it has to do with her care. And then I'm gonna ask that question again for the baby, but not right now because that was asked during the night. So I'm gonna wait a little bit more because the mom is trying to rush to leave the hospital. She wanted to leave now, but we told her she has to stay per policy for 12 hours for her safety. So right before being discharged, maybe 2 hours before me leaving, because she was gonna leave like at 2. She asked her again that question right before me leaving. So I remember, yeah, that's some of the things I remember. It was like quiet, listening. You ask open-ended questions because she says that this is very delicate. This is something you don't want to mess up because there's actually a protocol that she showed me and we follow it. The hong gets involved, the charge nurse gets involved, so it has to be very tediously followed.
You asked them, and she probably had been part of when they came in, you asked them if they want to stay on the floor, if they want to move off the floor, putting the card on the door, taking a picture of the baby, and having a little box. If the parents, if you've done some sort of baptism, we used to have these little shells that you could, that you put in the box, a blanket that maybe you used with the baby, footprints if you can. All of those little mementos go into this box, and basically it's offered to the parent before they go home, but if they don't want it, we still keep it so that if they want to come back, so much later, that they will be able to have that.
The nurse that I had, she gave me the box. I had the box, but the mom and the dad refused the box. But I don't know, I was not offered before leaving, so I don't know if she was gonna ask one more time. But I did go through the box.
Okay, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Brittany, you had a little older baby. Did you want to share anything about that? And did you have
patient, so I didn't have a lot of direct access with her, but we did definitely discuss it in class and like how to approach the situation. She came in at 38 weeks because she woke up and stopped feeling the baby kick. So she came in to get checked and they couldn't find a heartbeat. So she was walking up and down the halls while trying to get ready to deliver. And then afterwards, they had put her on a different unit per her request. And they had like the stuff on the door. So anybody who comes into contact with her is aware of the situation. But it was a lot of just therapeutic communication and making sure that you're keeping her and her family as comfortable as possible.
Yes. Pretty much in the situations I've had over the years, you really have to allow the family and the parents to take lead on that, right? I have been in situations where I had one situation, twin delivery. We knew one of the babies was gone from the beginning, and well, actually was not, I should say, the baby had congenital anomalies not compatible with life. And when they delivered, the mom, nobody wanted to hold the baby, but the baby had a heart rate still. So what do you think you should do in that situation?
I would say the nurse could hold the baby, point out the good features of the baby.
They didn't want the baby in the room.
They didn't even want it in the room, huh?
Right.
That's so hard.
One thing that comes to mind that with my nurse that I had, since she says that the parents didn't want anything with the baby, she went all the way to the labor and delivery because the baby's in the refrigerator. She went over there and she was talking to the baby, and she was saying some beautiful things to the baby, and then she asked me if I wanted to say something. So that nurse, like, she literally, like, my favorite, like the way she handles the situation, and she went to go talk to the baby, like, and I was like very impressed by her. So I would say most likely, like, even if the parents don't want anything, you could still, talk to the baby.
Yes, and it's a it is difficult. I mean, in that situation, that we were extremely busy. We didn't have enough nurses and everything, but we did be able to have someone, it was a nursing supervisor or someone, come and hold that baby as the heart rate went away, right? Because it was just, for me, it was so overwhelming that we can't just lay this baby in this crib and put him in the back nursery until the heart rate goes away. That just was like against, for my personal thing. I think if I remember right, because there were a few situations, I think at some point there was a grandmother that did come in to hold the baby and just see the baby for a little bit. So this is obviously a really specific, but it is, it's difficult. I think we present it and we have the ATI and we talk about it a little bit. You're never really prepared to deal with these situations, really. But to be able to talk about it and share it, and then after, thinking about, as the nurse, how you're dealing with this family. It's a sometimes very, very hard, because it could be the baby was born alive and you've done everything for the baby, and the baby is going to pass. You leave work, you punch out. Do you think you just set that away and don't think about it?
It's definitely something that will weigh on you.
Mm-hmm. Right. Emily has said provider PTSD is real. I agree. So I guess my purpose is to have you guys, when you look at the ATI video, focus, I mean, you've done that video already, but focus on the positive things that she's able to say to the patient. And it's really not a lot, right? It's more listening, keeping, and they talk about touch, if that's okay with the client, just being there with the person. If she's sometimes, and in the ATI video, she talks about her husband's, she kind of felt guilty about what had happened, and she was afraid her husband was going to be angry because she had already had, I think she had an abortion at one point. And just not putting your judgment in anything that you're saying, just letting the person talk about it. But then the nurse had reflected back to her what she said. And sometimes that's helpful, right? Because the person actually hears themselves what they're saying, what they've said. So any comments I know this is really brief. I'll open the video for you to look at. I had a Google Doc with the Caring tool. It's going to take you guys through and have you write down what you heard her saying. Take that time. Everybody's going to have something like this happen. Maybe not perinatal, but you will have to be prepared. And watch the nurse's grief video that's on the module. Has anyone watched that? Have you taken the time to watch that?
The video that you sent through the notifications?
Yes, the nurse's grief 2 video.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Okay. Take the time, thanks, Kenya. Take the time to watch that. It's only about 20 minutes, but it's specifically a nurse talking about dealing with grief as nurses and the importance of taking care of ourselves in these situations too. You can't be there to give back to somebody if you aren't taking care of yourselves. So in the last slide, I just thought this was one of those things that Claudia had mentioned. There were some things that were done for this patient, but things that you want to have done: offer privacy, give her personalized care. The nurse should not have 3 or 4 other patients she's trying to deal with. Keep the communication respectful and clear. Give her choices. Base anything that you're doing with her on what you've read about, what you should do, okay? And is seeing, holding the baby, choosing to say goodbye, memory box. So that's kind of a checklist for these moms and parents, right? So I think that's all I have to say. Any comments or closing thoughts?
It's just a hard topic all around.
Yeah, it's a very difficult topic.
Sensitive
Yeah.
subject.
Exactly. But if you have questions, if it's not something you want to share, or you just want to know, you had a patient that you didn't know if you handled something right or anything like that, just let me know. Okay. And I will open up the video, watch the ATI video and the nurse's grief 2 video, and finish your discussion board so you can get all 5 points. Okay.
And then just to clarify on that, I think it says reply to 1 to 2 people, and then you mentioned on the call that it's a minimum of 2. I just wanted to clarify on how many responses to.
Okay, Brittany, is that what this rubric says? I have a rubric in another class that says 2. Does this rubric just say 1 to 2?
Yeah, it said 1 to 2, but you did
Okay.
mention earlier 2. I just want to make sure that if somebody does 1 or if I do 1, that I'm not gonna, shoot myself.
No, thank you for
perfect.
telling me that. So 1 is fine, but really, guys, take the time to have it be meaningful, right? Okay. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll see
Thank
you
you.
Monday morning. No, Monday at 11, right? Monday at 11 is your final, right?
Right.
Monday at 11, and then Friday at 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Do you have any pointers for the final, Ms. Thorpe?
Pardon me?
So do you have any pointers for the final?
I've been given, are you guys sharing all if anyone needs to talk to me about any questions that they had or anything like that, I think there's been a few people have gotten some information. I thought you guys are sharing stuff, right?
Who's holding out on us?
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't heard of anything yet, so
I haven't heard of anything.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, if you have specific, what some people have done is gone through that study guide, and that if they have specific questions, you know, because I was pretty specific, guys, on the power where it has the little semi, what do you call it? Where it's organized, the points, pretty much that goes with a question. Okay. So, but I'll be here. Oh yes, Kelly said, watch the video on fetal circulation. That's been something I've been saying. So, and when I say watch it, I mean, know from the placenta coming into the baby, where does that blood, that oxygenated blood go to start with, and the different, like, know that pathway. That is directly to the question. So, okay.
Which shunts or where?
Pardon me?
Like which shunts?
Yes. Yes, know where the shunts are, what area the shunts are, but I'm talking about like, yeah, from when it introduces, you know, the atriums, the whole thing. Okay. I'm trying to see if okay. All right, like I said, if you need me to, or if you're like stuck on something, I'll be at my computer grading. So, okay.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Thorpe.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Good luck. We'll see you Monday.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.